Okay.
That's about all.
Great. Well, it sounds like you've worked with a couple of different teams. One of the things that we know is that regardless of the type of team that you're working with, communication is always a key part to an effective team. So from your experience, what have you done to ensure open and honest communication, not only between yourself and your team members, but amongst themselves?
Well, one thing I try to do is to basically state that up front. And I really like to just keep things simple. It's like we want open and honest communication and say, hey, we'd really like to have open and honest communication, so please be open and be honest. Not to oversimplify that approach by any means. The other piece is transparency, being in touch with the team, so that if they, so being as a nice, working as an individual contributor, and then as a lead, you kind of get these senses about things when there's an impending change coming, and you can sense that in the team, and just talk about the issues that might be there. When the team is uncomfortable, or when a person on the team is uncomfortable, we try to ask them, hey, what's bothering you? We also try to do morale events and other things to foster communication. A lot of it's electronic, and that's another challenge because the context is lost of what you're trying to say or the tone, and it ends up being blurty. But overall, open, honest communication is in a team culture is best achieved by communicating honestly and openly.
One of the issues that sometimes comes up with open and honest communication is that the communication is too honest, and then things become confrontational. What do you do when those issues arise, and how do you help settle down those issues?
Right, so one side of that is when it's open and honest, like people can be too blunt. And that's particularly a challenge when we have employees that come to Microsoft from all over the world. People from India, Russia, Mexico, and even the United States. But even different parts of a different country have different values and way of communicating, and sometimes it's not clear that it's a language issue versus a real communication issue. The nice thing about open and honest communication is if someone's being too blunt, another person tends to say, you know, that's a little too blunt for me. And if you really truly have that type of culture, then things do work out. However, one thing that a lot of people really try hard to do is to stay positive, and be very respectful. You know, there's probably a real reason that someone's a little blunt. It could be they didn't sleep enough or whatever, and be very understanding with that. And most of the time it works out. If not, then that person's manager will talk to them privately, and try to understand if there's some other context that the team's not aware of, and work through it. And you know, we really pride ourselves on being accommodating to a lot of folks, as well as very driven to achieve results. So,
Excellent.
I hope that makes sense.